You're listening to Crystal and Emily on Love Your Shelf, the best librarian podcast in the extensive and highly competitive field of librarian podcasts.
Oh, hello.
Why, hi. How's it going?
Oh, it's been crazy, but I think we just need to practice that and then we'll be better at it.
Practice being crazy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Being like pulled in different directions. And I mean, it's really what we signed up for. But I think we're all having to get back into the practice of being crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it has been, it's been crazy in different ways. And now we're getting back into our normal crazy ways.
Yeah.
In fact,
yeah.
I'm funny you bring that up because we didn't even talk about it, but I have an article that I read in the Atlantic that I was going to talk about, which is basically that, like, what the pandemic brain is like.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm interested in that.
Yeah, it's called Late Stage Pandemic is Messing with Your Brain.
Oh man, okay. I think I need some reassurance out of that.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot there that sparked my own similarities.
Yeah. I definitely welcome this craziness overall, but it really does feel like I said, just having to sort of practice it again.
Yeah, and we're referring mostly to doing in-person events and which then takes us all over the place. And so over this past weekend, we had a seed swap at the farmer's market, and then later we had a family painting event. And then this week is spring break, and so we're doing an escape room at the railroad depot. So yeah, we've been all over town.
Yes, but it has been really great. I think, my favorite part is being in the middle, actually doing the stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the big practice is with the sort of getting organized with it all.
Yeah, it's just a different sort of set of priorities, and then the planning and the just the setting up and taking down and all of that kind of stuff.
And then they throw a snowstorm in the mix here.
I'm really hoping that we don't have to face another one of those, at least this year.
Goodness. But anyway, to answer your question, I've been good.
Well, I have some books I want to talk about and some shows, and also some just other things that I find interesting or have found interesting. So we're going to kind of go all over the place. I think that also sort of demonstrates my headspace at the moment.
Yeah, great. I'm jumping on this train with you. Take me for a ride.
So it's on Amazon Prime. I started Tell Me Your Secrets. And just like, I didn't even get into it yet, but it sparked this, I don't know, revisiting of some things that I have loved in the past. So I kind of started it, and then I got more interested by going down some other rabbit holes. So
cool.
I'll have to come back to a review of that later. But that one is, as I said, it's on Amazon Prime. It's Amy Brenneman is one of the main characters. Who I have loved her.
I don't know that name.
Oh, she's been in a million things.
I know the face.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And another actress who I think her name is Lily Rabe. But and she also, you would recognize her too. Yeah. But she doesn't maybe have as much name recognition.
Okay.
But anyway, very interesting. Southern Gothic, like dark, spooky, that kind of thing.
Cool.
And so, our listeners may have noticed that we have a tendency toward that kind of stuff between the two of us. And so, we both are into true crime and creepy stuff and coincidence stuff. And anyway, so
it's right down our alley.
Exactly. And so it just kind of got me thinking about that as a topic, like the Southern Gothic or Gothic stories.
Right.
And so I thought I would like kind of make a list of some of my favorites.
Yes.
Of in those genres, just some of them. This may even have to go into like a part 2 because there are so many. Yeah.
Right.
But so if you're not so familiar with like what makes a Gothic story, there's usually some sort of well, first of all, it's very atmospheric, so it's like either isolated or there's like creepy castles or whatever in like a traditional Gothic story, or supernatural or paranormal stuff. There's usually like mental things like nightmares or terror or that kind of stuff, mystery, suspense, that kind of thing.
A lot of like what's real, what's not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then with Southern Gothic, you kind of bring in the elements of more like there's a lot of dark humor in Southern Gothic, and also there's religious elements as well, and that kind of questioning stuff. So one of my favorites is "The Heart is a Lonely Hunter" by Carson McCullers.
Okay.
And
I'm not familiar. I don't think I'm familiar.
Oh, well, it's really good. It's about these two friends. I want to say it takes place in about the 30s. And they're both deaf and mute. And they've lived together for a long time, but one of them gets sent away because he becomes mentally unstable. And so then the other guy moves into a new place, and then so it's all about these like interesting characters, that are interacting in this like rundown, southern town. Then the kinds of struggles that they have at that time period, and it's very good. Definitely highly recommend it.
I am jotting it down.
And the title comes from a Scottish poem, and part of it goes, "Deep in the heart of summer, sweet is life to me still, but my heart is a lonely hunter that hunts on a lonely hill." And kind of, that sets the mood, right?
Yeah, it does.
Another one that I really love is "The Violent Bear It Away" by Flannery O'Connor. And O'Connor is one of my favorite authors. She only wrote 2 novels, but tons of short stories. So there's lots of collections. She's in probably every, especially American literature short story collection. You're gonna have stories by her.
My dad quotes her a lot, has used her in his sermons a lot, so it's definitely a familiar name in our household. Well,
that's interesting. So in "The Violent Bear It Away," I mean, I think we're talking about violence. that's in the forefront. But this is like the height of Southern Gothic. So this evangelist who calls himself a prophet has kidnapped his great nephew and raises him back in the woods and tells him that he's going to be a prophet. He's going to take his place.
Oh my gosh.
And then he tells his nephew to when he dies, he wants this proper burial and all of this stuff. Well, he dies. And this kid,
he's like, now I've got to deal with this.
So he starts to dig the grave, but then hears voices that tell him, no, leave him. And so he leaves, he goes back to civilization, and has, I don't know, encounters. It's very dark, and it's not, he doesn't have a like an enlightened great ending. We'll put it that way.
Cool. Yeah. Leaves you kind of, I don't know, sitting in that atmosphere a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. And so so anyway, that's just another excellent example of that. And I don't know why I just got in this mood. In fact, I was kind of making the notes for this and like making my list for this before the weather got so nice like a week ago.
Right.
And I think that's why I was really in this zone, because probably more than any other time in my life. I mean, everybody's affected by the weather.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, this spring really felt like spring for me.
I know.
And I don't know. I mean, I guess it's the pandemic stuff, which we'll get into.
You're right, because I felt like there was a particular day when the sun came out and I like birds were chirping.
Yeah.
And it was just, I mean, and I kind of do that every winter where I'm like, what's wrong with me? Oh, well, but yeah, it's funny that you say that because I had the same thought this year. So
yeah, and like I said, I mean, yeah, everybody's affected that way, but I guess it was just way more so this year.
I think you're right.
So anyway, so maybe this is, not where people want to dwell right now, but
hey, I'll still welcome it. I think I can still keep my chin up and sit in this a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you're hanging out outside in 70-degree weather, laying in a hammock, it's okay to read, Dark and Stormy Night.
Lowly Hunter. Yeah.
Because that's not close to you at all.
Right.
Another example is William Faulkner. Obviously, lots of his work, but As I Lay Dying is about. There's many chapters. It's long, and it's narrated by many different characters, and it's about the death of a woman and having to honor her wishes to be buried in her hometown. So she dies and they have to transport her body, and it's about this going by wagon across the South to take her body.
Yeah, that alone, that trip sounds bleak.
Exactly. But obviously it's a classic. It's
of
in
course, yeah,
the list of almost everybody's list of the best books,
right?
100 books or whatever. But it also made me think of the Faulkner story, A Rose for Emily.
Yes.
Which is pretty dark, and which most people probably read, at some point in school.
Yep.
I would think.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't tell you maybe anything about it, but I know I read it. Well, and tell me why. I feel like everything that has Emily in it ends up being some really dark, sad thing. I remember working here. I was working the circulation desk one day, and a man was telling me about a song, I don't know, written for someone named Emily. And I, looked the song up and was reading the lyrics, and I don't remember what it was, but I remember being like, ugh, I don't want to be associated with this song. So how lovely.
Yeah. Well, no, you don't want to be like this, Miss Emily.
No.
Either. So it's about, and it's been a long time since I read it, but it's about a woman who, lives alone, and this smell starts coming from her house.
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
Okay.
This instantly, okay, yes.
Yeah. And so the neighbors are like, try to cover for her and without like getting in her business, but yeah, that's another like classic Southern Gothic kind of story. And then it made me also think of another series. It's a contemporary or more contemporary series from the 80s by William Gibson in the book Virtual Light. And it is kind of looks at the notion of southernness as kind of like this cult kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so the main character's name is Rydell, which, that sounds like a Southern boy.
I was going to say, you mean Rydell?
Exactly. And so he's kind of like this anti-hero, and there's a shop that he goes to that says something about Southern Gothic, and it's like these ideas of that the South being this place of decay, and but that decay is very colorful, and it's an interesting take on it. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
It's a great book too, but it also has this like tie to the Southern Gothic. So I thought I'd bring it up. And then there's also lots of films that fall into that category. So like Cape Fear is a famous one that's been remade.
I've never seen Cape Fear.
It is tense.
Yeah, maybe that's why I haven't. Maybe I watched the trailer, or I don't know, read a summary or something and decided against it for that reason.
I mean, Robert De Niro plays in the remake of it, and he's the villain, and he is a good villain.
Ooh,
and he's really over the top, and he just plays up that whole Southern thing. Ooh. And there's the soundtrack for it is also really famous, and it's like this really heavy duty, but heavy. I don't know, like atonal kind of.
Oh, okay.
Very scary.
Yeah,
but really well done. Very
cool. Good. Well, when I'm in a mood to take that on, I will take it on. It's one of those that like I know the name, I know it's a classic. I need to bite the bullet and do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you would enjoy it. Okay. There's a couple of scenes that are hard to watch, but
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just to take that. And then there's another Robert De Niro film, which is more of like a cult classic, I would say, but that everybody I knew watched it. It's called Angel Heart. I don't know, many of maybe it was just really like a cult classic in the 90s or something.
Right.
But it's wild. Robert De Niro plays like Satan, basically. But it's a in that same genre for sure.
Yeah, that's where he got all of his bad guy skills, was playing the ultimate bad guy.
Right. He sold his soul.
That's right.
And then there are some other more recent ones that are not classics, but that fall in the category of Southern Gothic, like The Gift, but when it has with Cate Blanchett and Giovanni Ribisi, and she plays a woman who's like a single mom and a psychic. Like she does readings for people, and there's a murder in her community, and so she ends up having to solve it, basically, use
her gift,
with her skills.
With the gift.
Right.
Cool.
And so if you haven't seen that, I would definitely
I'm putting an asterisk next to that
one. And then one that's maybe not as great, but definitely falls under that is The Skeleton Key, which is Kate Hudson.
Man, I love The Skeleton Key.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it's good, but I would say that The Gift is way better.
Really?
So if you like The Skeleton Key, I think you would like.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Skeleton Key was, I don't know, it just I think I saw it when it came out, maybe in high school, and I think I thought I was getting in for a full on horror movie, and it's not really. But cool. Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah, that's definitely another one of those that it's really more about like the atmosphere and the vibe and the
absolutely.
Yeah. And so all of this stuff, I guess, had me attuned to weird things because I kept coming across weird stuff online the past couple weeks. So first of all, I don't know if you've seen this. There's this girl in New York who found that there was something on the other side of her bathroom mirror.
I saw this.
Okay.
Crystal. I'm sorry, keep going.
I was just like, no, I was like, that is, I just can't even, I would move immediately.
It starts with a mysterious breeze in her bathroom.
Yes. So she's cold and she's like, why is it cold in my bathroom? So she goes to investigate, and there's like air coming through the lock,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know, like there's
The,
not good insulation there or something.
yeah.
She covers that, and then she realizes it's coming from behind her mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And so she films all this, so you're getting to watch it. Like,
Yep.
and anyway, a lot of those kinds of videos where they play it up, it turns out to be nothing. You know,
No. Yeah, you're
this
so right. Because
she
I got really comfortable, and then there were several surprises.
yes. So she gets this mirror down, and there is a hole in the wall, and she looks into it, and there's a room, and she decides that she's going to climb into it, which, I mean, I don't know.
I feel like I like how she invites her friend over, and I don't know, he's just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna, like, I would invite a few friends over, because this guy's just kind of like, all right, I'll be here, yell if anything happens, and she takes a hammer in there with her.
Right. And so she goes exploring, and it's a whole other apartment that's back
Full
there,
apartment,
like multiple rooms, and there's a door, an entrance to it that's unlocked. And there's like a couple of, like, there's a water bottle or something, and there's like signs that somebody's been in there, you know, in the not too distant past. And so she goes and locks the door that leads into that apartment, and then climbs back through and puts her mirror back up, and she still lives there.
Yes, that's the end. Which I guess she's, I don't know, finding an apartment in New York, I can say from personal experience, is not fun, and it's really hard to do. So maybe I don't blame her, but like, at least get that covered up. I don't know. I need some answers. I need to know, because what did the outside door or the other entrance lead to? I think I missed that.
I don't remember. See, that's the thing, is they leave a lot out.
Okay.
And then she did a funny interview like on Ellen.
Oh, really?
A couple days ago. But she still hadn't like contacted her landlord. Like,
what?
That would be my number one.
I would be like knocking on my landlord's house. I'd be knocking
wherever
on
they
their
are.
front door. Yeah. Like,
I would want to, like you said, I would want answers. I would not just be willing to let it sit that way, you know?
Yes. And why was it empty?
Why is there a hole behind the mirror?
I don't know. Oh, my
gosh.
gosh.
It's one thing to have an empty apartment, you know, just on the other side of your wall, but there is no reason to have a hole into the inside of your apartment.
Anyway. Well, and the moment, because there's the moment you realize it's a room, and then there's the moment you realize it's a full apartment.
Ugh. Anyway, so if you haven't seen the video of it, it's pretty intriguing, and she's funny. She's like, she's not taking it super seriously, but which I guess, I mean, that kind of stuff obviously appeals to me too. But I think I would be a little afraid of what might be in there.
Right. Like, I don't think I would just hop on in at all. Yeah.
No. I would maybe go outside my apartment and start knocking around and seeing if I could tell how you got in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, was it just like you can enter from the street? Or is there like a whole other bit to this building that's like
it's been covered up somehow?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure those old buildings, there probably is stuff like that, where it's just sealed off. But yeah, yikes!
No, it's crazy. I'm glad you brought that up, because it was pretty nuts.
Well, and then I came across this other. I don't know. I don't even remember where I first saw it, but this actually took place, or like at the height of it, was several years ago, and this these CDs and maybe even cassette tapes, but definitely CDs got sent to people, and it was just like noise that was on these CDs. And so the thing I was that I started off reading about it was like somebody played this. It's like a 3-minute recording of just sounds and noise, and kind of creepy sounds, but just noise. And but then people got really intrigued by the mystery of it. So they started listening to, they found that there were more that were out there.
Okay.
And so they started listening to them, and they uncovered locations. Like,
what?
There were,
through the sounds?
yes, there was some kind of pattern or something that they could find that
What?
then gave them coordinates. And so they went to the places where these coordinates took them, and it was like an abandoned asylum or something. And
what? Why is it got to
yeah,
be an abandoned asylum? Of course it is. Well, and so how many, okay, I need to know what the packaging on these CDs looked like. Was it like, here's a gift for you, love, anonymous? Or
no, it was just very not much, it didn't have much information on it.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. And then
How do you know about how many CDs there were?
no, but there is like a whole there are subreddits devoted to this.
This is nuts.
I know. And so, but it really turns out, I kind of don't even want to tell you. It's kind of interesting to follow the path yourself to figure out what it is. But
okay.
it was called, there was a name on some of the stuff that they found, which was Nequum sonitis. And there were also videos. Yeah. Nequum is Nequam, and sonitis, which is Sonitus.
Okay. All how it sounds. But interesting. Oh my gosh.
And
well, and
videos started to surface with this character called the Creature. It's just wild.
This is a movie. And like, who's orchestrating this?
Yes.
So many questions. And oh man, if I had received that, and I don't know, maybe this is answered and it's, anticlimactic or something, but I would just like, why me? Was I this chosen person, or did you just like happen to be passing by my mailbox, or what?
I will say that it's probably anticlimactic for people, but
okay,
it's I thought it was just clever. Like, whatever it is, it's interesting,
Yeah, I mean, I do like that journey. Asking the questions and so I'll take it.
Yeah. I think that was, it reminded me of that case that we talked about a few weeks ago.
Yes,
about
with
the disappearing, disappearance of Elisa Lam, and how people online all collaborated to try to figure it out.
Right. Yeah.
Which
no, I was kind of thinking that too, because it was, I don't want to say anticlimactic, but well, maybe it was.
Well, I mean,
yes and no.
It was resolved in a concrete way, but still.
Well, and I think, I think in unsolved cases or mysterious happenings like this, I think everybody wants it to be some crazy, fantastical, there's some crazy villain mastermind behind it all. When really, it's probably, I don't know, the custodian that works in this guy's building, or the neighbor down the street, so, I do think that's sort of the way of the world most of the time, but, yeah.
Well, and then I guess, the universe throws at you whatever it is that you're looking for. So I also ran across this information about the Mayday mystery, which is equally bizarre, even and long lasting. So okay, so I am
literally on the edge of my seat right now. I'm literally sitting on the edge of this seat. Okay.
You're the best audience for this. I'd have to say.
Man, if you could see my face, I've got wide open mouth, wide open eyes.
So this Mayday mystery, back in the 90s, this guy, and I can't remember where it was that it started, but it was a small college, and this college had a little newspaper, And he noticed that there was kind of a weird advertisement that came out in it, like a paid advertisement. And it came out in the month of May.
Okay.
And this happened several years. And then, like, after 3 or 4 years, he's on the newspaper staff and he decides that he wants to get to the bottom of what this is.
Would he see it consistently or just like every year?
Mostly it was like a big full page ad every year, but then sometimes there would be more like ads from the same group or whatever it was at other times, but mostly in May. And it was like all of this obscure references and like not necessarily Illuminati stuff, but I'm on that like Freemason stuff.
Sure. Just, you know, like, is this some secret organization? Yeah. I get what you're saying.
And so he starts looking into it, and since the 90s, since this thing has happened, he's had to maintain this website where they combine all of this stuff because these people contact him and they've like looped him into this thing. And so
oh my gosh,
there's talk about that they like in the correspondence between him and this shadowy group or whatever. It's they say, you know, we're, you know, testing you kind of vibe, and you know, one day you'll be able to enter the inner circle or whatever, and you'll know all the secrets, and and it's just there's a lot. I like barely scraped the surface, and the site is maydaymystery.org.
And so he keeps up with this website.
So, yeah, he puts up all the like emails that he gets from these people and the ads, and it's all like documented there, but for like 20 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, and like, oh my gosh, again, so many questions. Who's doing this? I just feel like it could be a giant prank. I mean, it could be. I'm just saying, like, it might not be.
It would be just like the other one. It's a lot to put into it for a prank, you know?
Right.
And but if it's not a prank, like how serious? Yeah, it's just bizarre.
And what are the goals here?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm just so curious about the advertisements. Like, could you have hunted down? I'm sure he did all this. Like, tried to, you know, find who, you know, called to put those advertisements in, and wow.
Yeah. So I suggest
checking that out.
Just look at it if that's the kind of thing that would be intriguing to you, which
I will.
Yeah. It was weird.
I will. I'm going to show Nick too. I think he'd be really interested in this.
Yeah.
Cool.
You guys are going to go full on. Like,
I know.
Paranoid.
Next podcast, I'm going to be like, okay, Mayday Mystery.
You'll have
I've now
your map with the thread that you're trying to connect everything. Yeah.
I've had to start my own website because I've also gotten roped in.
Well, that's the thing. Like, once these people become this, there I also saw some videos with a young woman, and she said the same thing. Like, she showed interest in it, and now these people contact her and stuff.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Bizarre. Who are you?
Yeah.
Oh, God. How crazy.
And then this is a little more lighthearted or not as serious. But there's this series of videos of this person is putting out where there's like this voiceover kind of thing. It's like nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. How would they know? There's nobody's gonna know. And it's this person who is finding like cavities in things, like in a door, like where there's like something scooped out or broken, and then filling it with like ramen noodles, like dried up ramen noodles, and then
who's gonna
buffing it? Yeah, and then buffing it down and covering it over and like painting it to look like the rest of the door.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just so bizarro, but it cracks me up. And
my God.
like a crack in the sidewalk, and they'll go put sunflower seeds in it and like buff it and
Cover
like
it up.
sand it until it looks like till it's solid, and then they paint it like to look
Oh my
like what
gosh, that
it's
is
filling it.
hilarious. Well, like one of the podcasts I listen to will do, they'll have listeners, I was about to say readers, have listeners write in, and one of their favorite, topics, I guess, is, tell us crazy things you found in your walls. So obviously I immediately thought of the girl with the apartment
Yeah.
on the other side of hers. But can you imagine, like, I don't know, you accidentally break your door or something and like ramen noodles come spilling out?
That would be very strange. Like, yeah, you would, I don't know. That kind of stuff that's just inexplicable, I think,
I do.
is funny and disturbing.
Exactly. Oh, that's funny. That's really funny.
So anyway, so to wrap up, we'll talk about the pandemic messing with your brain. Um, so this article is talking about how, back in like the spring, summer last year, people were talking about the before times, but it was not that long ago, the
No,
before times at that
I
point.
know.
Now it is. And I think part of it too is coming through the winter.
Yeah.
And, like you could still like when the pandemic started, like I was still getting out and visiting friends outside, like we would go like sit on the, you know, out in the field and,
Right.
visit with each other.
Right.
But then all of that even dropped off. And so I thought it was interesting that in this article that this and the author, but also she's referring to like studies and talking to people who are you know experts on mental health and on the brain and that kind of stuff, and it's
Yeah.
not it's common. A lot of people are going through the same thing.
Yeah.
And people that you're like you have this fog over your brain, which I definitely feel,
Yes.
like walking into a room and forgetting why you're there,
Oh my goodness, yes.
but to like an extreme level,
Yeah. Yeah.
and have I definitely identified with that.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I already kind of am like that as a person. But I have felt fully crazy. Even walking around the library, I feel like the people that sit at the tables right next to our, back tech services room must think I'm insane because I will walk by there, 8 times in a row because I forgot stuff.
right, but one of the a neuroscientist that was interviewed in the article says that it's actually at least in part a natural adaptation for it's evidence of resilience, because we're good at forgetting things that are not a priority.
Right, right.
And so you have all of this other stuff that is a priority now. And
Oh,
so all of these things that were less important just go by the wayside.
oh my gosh, I think that's so interesting to think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to put it that way. Uh, well,
And they
is it
think
weird
that
that I
when
feel relief in a way?
no, I think I felt the same thing, and that's why I
Yeah.
wanted to talk about it, because
Yeah.
I did feel, like, because we aren't talking to our friends in the same way that we used to,
Mm-hmm.
that
Because
maybe it's just
eventually,
me.
eventually the sort of extra precautions we had to take, even, whether visiting in person or Zoom, that takes so much extra energy. And
Mm-hmm.
I get pretty drained in social situations in, anyway. And so, yeah, eventually I think we all sort of fell off in our different ways.
Yeah, but they do say that once our routine goes back to normal,
Mm-hmm.
that our brains will change it back.
Oh.
So they don't think that it's like a permanent thing. They think that it's just one of the other neuroscientists interviewed says that we're all walking around with some mild cognitive impairment.
I'm glad we
And
all are.
yeah, and that this like low level chronic stress
Mm-hmm.
is, that's what's causing these, like, at least hopefully temporary changes in our brains.
Right. Very interesting. I'll have
Yeah.
to read that.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And and they brought up too that the kind of stress that we're under isn't like a panic attack or keeping you up at night. It's like a heaviness.
Yes.
Which is definitely
Yes.
how it has felt for me. That's
Same. It's just sort of been an in the back of my brain.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Foggy heaviness. Yeah.
Yeah. And that prolonged boredom is
Mm-hmm.
actually, our brains hate it, and it's hugely stressful to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, even me, and I love to be home alone by myself, like
Yes. No, I
I'm
do
I'm
too.
a loner, but but the extent to which I've done that is too much. It's too far for
Yes,
everybody.
I definitely witnessed what my boundary is in
Yeah.
that way. I think that, like, there was a point when everyone was, finished. I think there was a point when a lot of people were okay being at home, and then there was a point where everyone was tired of it. And
Mm-hmm.
I went further than a lot of people. I was like, I still kind of like being at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, but then I reached my peak, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's why it was so nice to get out this past weekend
I agree.
and see people in the sunshine and even though we got sunburns and
Yep, I got
had
a
forgotten
nice
what it's like to
yeah,
be
I've got a
outside.
nice red forehead.
But at least the other half of your face is
Yeah,
fine.
well, the portion that my mask covers is fine.
So yeah, so we're learning. We're gonna baby step it back.
Yes, exactly.
But anyway, so I think the theme this week, the Gothic theme,
Mm-hmm.
definitely inspired by that kind of,
Yes.
I don't know, wherever our heads
Yep.
are at right now.
Yep.
That, and I would probably have identified as a goth kid at some point.
Uh-huh. I love that visual.
I mean, I wasn't really committed to it, but
Yeah, you had
at least
shared some of those sentiments.
I did. I shared the sentiments, and I just was lazy about like dressing up to the nines. Like that
I
wasn't really
mean,
my favorite thing.
right.
So I mean, I had some black lipstick and all, but and dyed my hair, but I wasn't full on.
Yeah, no, because
Yeah,
that does seem like a lot of work.
it's a lot of work. Like it takes 3 hours to do your makp to go
I
out
think
like that.
I think that makes you a little more goth. That you're like, I don't care.
For sure. I can't be bothered
Yeah,
to look like it, like I feel or whatever.
exactly.
Well, we will catch up with another episode soon. Since we kind of once again got off track a little bit. Just, part of it is that we're volunteering. I guess it's
Yeah,
volunteering
yeah,
at the vaccine clinics. So several staff members each week, sometimes twice a week, we're going to do that. And so we're kind of off of our normal schedule over here,
yeah.
but we're easing back into
Yep.
in-person stuff and looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll be back with another episode soon, and we'll talk to you then.
Bye, guys.